Namaste, beautiful friends. It's David Ault, and I want to welcome you to the gathering. This is an on the road edition coming to you from Southern California, where I'm on a speaking tour and also doing some promotional work for Kaleidoscope Child Foundation. Every time on a speaking tour, there is this beautiful honor of connecting and talking with people. And one of the commonalities, always, no matter what era of time I have done this, there is the outpouring of challenge and concern and joy and victory. And you just see the full spectrum of everything that you and I share, which is the human experience. And even preparing for the trip, one of my best friends passed away from liver cancer. There was all kinds of some travel issues and hassles, and you start to see that there is an unrelenting dynamic of chaos. And it's not that you've done anything wrong or I've done anything wrong. It's not even that we have to blame the world or specific things for being this way. It's remembering who we are and where we are. And so the who we are, again, for all of you spiritual people on the path, who we are is, I like to say, pure essence. Beyond all form, you and I are God in personality. And to the degree that we remember that, embody that, align with that, is the degree that not only can we navigate through all of that chaos and human loss and still remain truthful and focused to remembering who we are, but that we also influence and ripple out that sense of calm and service and solution to those we come in contact with. And to the degree that we forget who we are, that we think that we are this body, this skin suit, that this impermanent and finite, faulty thing is the degree in which the outside world mirrors that back to us in such a way that we are constantly battling despair and separation and anxiety and fear. And so, if you can think of living life in that forgetfulness, then you can't ever really get ahead, as they say. It is a perpetual two steps forward, three steps back. And we're always trying to navigate and prevent things from happening, which inevitably they will. We're trying to hold on to things which the inevitability of change will take away. And so the whole game here, the whole reminder for each of us is to remember who we are. And in the remembering who we are, it changes the scope of what we can call participation. Remember, Jesus the Christ said, be in the world. So be in the world of duality. You and I have no choice. We are born here in this relative reality, but don't be of it. Don't succumb to the forgetfulness of separation. The whole, the whole idea here of waking up, the whole idea of becoming self-aware and enlightened is to remember what you are, even in the midst of all of the absence of God or love or K or divine design or intelligence, to remember to look beyond. And so participation then becomes part of our work. I can participate in the chaos and treat the chaos as real, or I can participate in the chaos remembering what I am, bringing calm, bringing clarity, bringing solution, helping to alleviate the suffering in the best way that I can and what I feel called to do. Participation. How are you and I then participating right now in this day and age in all of the division and all of the seeming amplification of the forgetfulness and all of the noise that is promoting the othering and the division? How are you and I participating in that? And you will begin to see that participation and the check of that is a moment by moment, day by day practice. That's what spiritual practice is. So I want to remind you, first and foremost, who you are. Who you are is pure essence. I love that terminology. Again, Ram Dass used to say, I am loving awareness. It is beyond personality, it is beyond finite skin suit identity. It is the actual absorption of God. And to the degree that we practice, participate in remembering that, is the degree in which it ripples out, it influences everything that we're involved in. So remembering what we are. And what brought this to the forefront of my mind was a fun conversation I had with a woman this weekend in Los Angeles who had come to hear me. And she was telling me how privileged she felt to have been in Los Angeles during the 1970s when a speaker by the name of Neville Goddard used to do many of his lectures there. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, he's an incredible metaphysician, writer, author, very inspiring. And so much of his focus back then was using consciousness, and his words were to assume the truth of you, which is to assume, create the assumption of God in form. He always called it assumption, to assume God in form, to speak as that, to navigate to that, to actually command physical vision to see beyond things in such a way that it becomes the embodiment of who we are. And we were talking about that because something had caused her to have a memory. And lo and behold, if right after that I didn't come across this little meme of Neville Goddard, and it said, I don't ask you as an individual. I don't ask any outside God. As an individual, as this perceived human, I am asking myself, capital S, God self, to bring this thing to pass. This is what I'm actually saying because I am speaking to the only God. God speaking to God. Let me read that again. I don't ask you as an individual. Let's break it down. What does that mean? If I'm asking you as an individual, as the finite self, then I am dependent upon hoping. I am dependent upon the possibility of being rejected. I am dependent upon the fickle nature of humanity, of loss. If that's where I'm asking from, I don't ask any outside God. What that means too is it's sort of that Santa Claus God definition, oh, please give me, oh, please give me. If you will, I will do this, I will change. It's not any of that kind of beseeching bargaining. He says, as an individual, I am asking myself, capital S self, to bring this thing to pass. And so the thing to bring to pass isn't necessarily things, but it's I ask for clarity to come to pass in this moment. I ask for solution to come to pass for this moment. I ask for the wisdom that is already inside of me to know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I call forth now all of that which is right partnership to come and to interface with me in the most meticulous time and in the most perfect way. He said, this is what I'm actually saying because I'm speaking to the only God, which is not just recognizing myself, this self, as the embodiment of God, but recognizing you, the one I'm speaking to, as also the embodiment of God. God speaking to God, deep speaking unto deep. And I know you've probably heard this before, but part of our participation in the human experience is filled with forgetfulness. It's filled with forgetfulness. There's a beautiful chant song written by someone named Michael Gott. And the words are sort of, when I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? And I will remember for you when you forget. And that's kind of what we're doing, right? When I forget, I'm trusting and celebrating the fact that you will remember for me. And when you forget, I want you to know that I am here remembering for you that what you are is true essence, that you are never separate from the enoughness, the solution, the perfect divine design, which isn't always a match to what the conceptual human mind wants it to look like. And so as people come and go, as people shed their bodies, as circumstances in the outside world don't actually meet the pictures in our mind and how we think it should be, can you still hold in this finite dualistic sandbox that even beyond all of this, there is perfection? And I want to remind you, let me remind you today, to the degree, to the degree that you keep coming back to that, to the degree that you are willing to remember beyond appearances, is the degree, match for match, is the degree that we now see the physicality, the manifestation of those things, because it's already there. It's up to us to continue to move all of the barriers of our perception. And isn't it beautiful that when you and I choose to do that, it doesn't stay contained here, it ripples out. I love being around people who remember who they are. And I love being around you, and I love being around myself, particularly when we can remember who we are. And equally, when we forget, that love does not waver. And we will stick around for one another until we get back to that same remembrance. Blessings.